I've got a little Google Zoom.
What did you say?
It was. I said Arjen de Zoo. I think he was the captain at Wigan when they, they were flying in 2006.
Yeah. I know. Yeah.
And I had Arjen de Zoo. I can see it here now. Arjen de Zoo and Pascal Chimbanda.
All right.
No, that's what I mean. So when you said it, I was like, Jesus Christ! Can you imagine? Imagine what pressure you'd have been under.
I got one name here, and that was it.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to Cal and Dom Talk Nonsense, Series 1, Episode 1. We are finally now live on Spotify as well as YouTube. You can find us over there at Cal and Dom Talk Nonsense. Dom, it's a pleasure to be here today, mate. How are you feeling, buddy?
Oh, I'm buzzing, mate. We'll go on about it in a bit, but we had an endorphin rush at about 3-4 o'clock today, and it sort of put the fire in our belly more than it had done as well, because again, what we'll talk about in a bit, I was already revved up today, but I am buzzing. I am happy to be here for the first episode of the first season.
Yeah, very much so, mate. We will go into that a little bit later because what we saw before blew our mind. I can't wait to get stuck into that one. But I think the first topic of conversation for tonight's pod is going to be our national team. England 0, losing to Italy 1-0 away in Italy. It wasn't great. Nothing much about it was great. There's been a lot going on in the press in the last few days. What was your instant thoughts about it, Dom? I'm pretty sure I can tell what they are.
The thing is, I'm the most loyal Southgate fan as well, and even I can't really back him at this point because we've gone 5 games without a goal in open play, and any team, in any league, in any position, know that isn't a good place to be. And we are under 2 months away from the World Cup. So just a small matter.
Yep.
It's pretty poor. It's pretty lackluster. And we've said it for it's a weird situation because look at what we had before Southgate. We had Sam Allardyce and all his controversy and
great record.
100%, wasn't it? But even before then, Hodgson wasn't great. And Southgate brought this belief in us that we could actually do something. And you're a Reds fan, but I'm a fan that don't win many games. And I was really, I could finally back a team that won games. And right now it's not great. And I think in football, there is an arc, there is a storyline, and right now I feel like we're in the last scene of it. And even Gareth Southgate said it. The writing is on the wall if we don't do well in the World Cup, and we have said previously that kit does scream struggle in the group stage. Yeah. Doesn't do well in the round of 16. We're currently half watching the game right now. It's 0-0 against Germany for anyone wanted to timestamp what we're doing, but yeah, I mean, it's not great, is it? It's just so boring. Like, I think most Premier League and Championship fans are looking and hoping that just to get back to the weekend games now. And Jesus,
yeah, I think it's. You know what? I think there's so many little bones to pick with just pretty much every decision he seems to make annoys somebody in some way. And I know that's football in many ways, but I think when you've got a whole country that's sat, on Twitter, sat ringing in on TalkSport, all complaining about the same things, and it's the same issues every time. And, we talk about picking players off form, and we've mentioned on this podcast that we understand and we'll give him a bit when it comes to loyalty to players.
Yeah.
But come on. It gets to a point where you start thinking, you can't, it's not Gareth Southgate's problem that these players aren't playing often for their clubs. It's not his problem. His problem is winning games for England. And what it seems to be doing at this point is showing everybody that there's a reason why these lads aren't playing at home, because they're rubbish at the minute on current form. They can't play to the ability that they once could, or they're not in that vein of form at the moment. You shouldn't be playing them. And listen, I even understand his mindset when it comes to Trent. If he doesn't want to play Trent and doesn't think that he's the right type of player for his system, that's completely fine. But it's then the way that you're trying to play. Even Reece James, who's good defensively, but also a good attacking asset, he looks rubbish because he doesn't know what he's doing either. He's playing in this back five or as a wing back in this back three, and everything about it just screams, I'm not entirely sure what I'm doing. And I think that's when you get to the point where when you've got your players every day in these press conferences, I've seen Declan Rice, Jack Grealish, numerous players just, coming forward and saying, it's all right, we're going to be okay. I think Declan Rice even said, we're going to be good. And the reality is, currently, I'd like to see a bit of it before the World Cup. Our current record, I think aren't we level on form exactly with San Marino? I think we're the only two teams, in terms of goal. And you think, wow, that's never a good place to be heading into the World Cup. But
exactly,
listen, it might be an overreaction, and I'm not saying the Nations League should be something that your players should be, getting really excited for and playing their absolute best, but you've got to give us something to get excited for, ready for the World Cup. And there's players there that, have been called up and you think, oh, I'd like to see a bit of him. Fikayo Tomori, he's not going to play a minute. He didn't get selected tonight. He didn't play the other day. So he's not going to play. Ivan Toney's on the bench tonight. You'd like to see him get a few minutes, see what he can do. You think, what does Harry Kane have to prove to us or to Gareth Southgate? He's the captain. He's going to be the first name on the team sheet. Just give him a minute. He's playing for Spurs all the time. Let him have a minute. Put Ivan Toney on. I think they're at Wembley tonight, aren't they? Let him have his Wembley debut. See how he goes. See how he gets on. Yeah. It's everything about it, mate.
The glorified friendlies as well, which is the issue as well. We're already relegated, so it doesn't mean a thing, does it, this game? And we've watched the first half, and it's just like, oh my God, let's just start the pod now. Fuck this game.
Yeah.
Honestly. And even the fact that we got to a final, and even the fact that we got to a World Cup semi-final, he's been the best manager we've ever had since Sir Alf Ramsey. Sorry, but we've seen it for ages. This sort of same issue, and is it a case of that our expectations got a lot higher? I don't think it is, because, like I said, we've not scored in 5 games. How can a team in the top 10 of the world with so much infrastructure, with so much attacking force, with so much quality in the team, not score a single goal in 5 games against any team? It's just not right, and there's something fundamentally wrong with either Gareth Southgate or the team or the infrastructure in general right now. Not overall, but right now, that isn't right. And we're 2 months, like I say, we're 2 months away from the World Cup. We're less than that. It's not a good thing. Do we play any friendlies before then?
I'm not entirely sure. I think this is actually our last game for it. I think I'm right in saying that. It's not great.
Blackburn play Burnley, and then that's it. I think it's the World Cup. So
straight after then, exactly. It's creeping up. People think it's miles away. It's like these are the 2 games where I thought, obviously Italy aren't there, but Germany are. These are 2 good, strong teams that you can actually go and put a message out to the world just before the World Cup. Like, listen, we got to the Euros final. We want to be doing, we want to be right up there in this World Cup. And it's actually gone the other way. Might work for us in the end. We might be underestimated a little bit, but with a team like England, with a lot on the line all the time, if you're England manager, you need to be getting it right. And at the minute, I think you might just be lucky that it's on the build up to a World Cup that you can't really ask too many questions, because you're not going to sack him now. So we'll have to ride out the World Cup and fingers crossed and hope for the best. But I think as a talking point, we've hit the nail on the head. It's not good enough, and he's going to reap what he sows after this World Cup. But moving on, I would like to.
Sorry, just before then, I did put a poll out yesterday on Twitter, didn't I? We did, and we said, how far do you think England will get in the World Cup? I did put regardless of this game beforehand, but I thought let's just make it simple. 16 votes. Obviously, there's only 15 people following. So if anyone wants to follow the Twitter account, it's Talk Nonsense Pod on Twitter. We're trying to tweet as much as we can, just nonsense essentially about football and anything. But I like to say we have good points about football, just nonsense about everything else. 50% put group stage. 25% put round of 16, 19% put semi/quarters, and 6% put the final / winners. I think I put quarters,
I think I
but
might
that
have
was
been.
just being optimistic, like I always am with England.
Yeah, I think I was a bit more ambitious. I think I might have put the semis, or I might have even put the final. I'm not sure.
Really?
I think. Do you know what? I wouldn't be surprised any of those things happened. Any
Yeah.
of them.
It's a
But I
small
would.
sample size. It's a small
Yeah.
sample size, but that's, I mean, that's sort of telling with the small audience we have right now, or the small viewers.
But we're gonna continue to push the pod out there, and yeah, hopefully the next one's got a few more. But moving on, we have a hot topic of the day. I was driving along today, and Talksport broke the news, and I couldn't quite believe it, to be honest. I know you have a lot to say about this, Dom, so I'm gonna bring it in, and then I'm gonna leave you to it, mate. So the breaking news of the day is that Watford have sacked Rob Edwards after 10 games in charge this season. Signed from Forest Green with, a pretty good record over there. I think he got a promotion, and he was plucked from the Forest Green team and sent over to Watford. We all know how they are with their managers, but sacked today. And yeah, Dom Meadowcroft, take the floor.
So we'll start off in the summer. The owner of Forest Green suggested that Watford went to Rob Edwards, just sort of talked to him in a fashion that wasn't right for poaching a manager. Essentially, you need to approach the team and then they can approach the manager. They went to Rob Edwards personally before even speaking to the owner. And then Rob Edwards quit Forest Green Rovers to go to Watford. Now, this in itself sort of is, it leads a lot of debate. But at the time, obviously, it was really annoyed and fuming about it, rightly so. And 10 games now, 10 whole games, 3 wins, 5 draws, 2 losses for Rob Edwards, which isn't too bad. You look at teams that go down from the Premier League, and we'll talk about how Watford did in the summer in terms of transfers. I did mention this on my own channel as well, and I've calmed down since, but in my own channel, I am quite seething, to be fair. Not in terms of how quick it's been, but just Watford in general. This is what Watford said in the summer about Rob Edwards. We will be supporting Rob Edwards come hell or high water. We believe that he will deliver what we want, a sustained and successful football club we can all be proud of. It's quite telling, isn't it, really? And quite ironic in the most brutal terms. And I think that Watford go in a cycle. They go from a familiar foreign manager, Slaven Bilic now, and then they go to an old-fashioned manager. Let's just do it last season. You've got at the start of the season, you've got you had Cisco, and then you went to Ranieri. But
Good
that was 2 seasons ago.
these.
Yeah, and then you had Roy Hodgson as well. So
yeah, Roy was in there.
And then you always go to an unknown manager, which is like Rob Edwards right now. So, and it just the curse goes on and on. And now you've got Slaven Bilic, and how long will he last? And I said this on the video that I did on my channel. Slaven Bilic, honestly, quote this right now. Look at me right in this eye, and Spotify, everyone hear me. Slaven Bilic won't be at Watford Football Club at the end of the season. There is no way he will be. He will lose 3 in a row and he'll be gone. That's it. That's how they work. If you look at the overhaul in Watford team this season, they lost. Guess how many players they lost, Cal?
I cheated. I watched your podcast before we did Is it seriously 50 players?
If you look on Wikipedia right now, there is 50 players that have gone from Watford in this summer, and that's just the.
Oh wow!
I'll mention names: Dennis, Zinkernagel, Cucho, Foster, Demari Gray, Andre Gray, Josh King, Kiko Firmino, Sissoko, Dahlberg, Kamara, which I'll say in a second. Danny Rose, Ashley Fletcher, just to name a few, and then you've got another 35 as well as that. That's just an accumulation of managers that want a different system, want a different formation, want a different sort of style and infrastructure in the team, and there's just a big glut that's gone from the team. And when I spoke about the incomings, you got Gaspar from Villarreal that looks leggy and he looks like he can't be arsed. He's just there for a paycheck. You got Keenan Davis that was good at Forest last season, but can he fit in a system that nobody knows? What system do they play anymore? Like nobody knows. It's just you got Chowdhury and Courtney House and Bayo, which are good signings, and that's the annoying thing that Watford probably will get away with this. They make 3 manager signings every season, and I feel like there should be a cap on it every single time. Now, I talk about the Kamara thing. Do you know anything about that?
We briefly touched on it, didn't we? It's an interesting one to say the least, isn't it?
Yeah. So Udinese, which is where Watford sold 60 million to. Yeah, sorry. They sold Kamara to Udinese for 16 million, and then they basically loaned him back. But Udinese and Watford have the same owner. Yeah. So essentially, they're just money laundering at this point. It's just like the board is a disgrace, and I can't get over how the EFL are allowing this. I don't understand what is going on at Watford, and it's not just the EFL; it's the entire FA. How they're allowing Watford Football Club to get away with this? They're just Derby County got cost. When they got the points deducted for basically money laundering for the stadium as well as Sheffield Wednesday season before. They got in trouble for that, and Watford have blatantly done that with Udinese and Watford, and they're getting away with it. I don't know if that screams that they've got no money. I don't know if that screams if the financial fair play is very tight right now. I don't know. But all I know is that Slaven Bilic has got a marker on his head if he loses 2 games in a row.
Yeah.
And, that's what I think about the Rob Edwards. He's got a good payday, to be honest with you. And I think Forest Green Rovers are laughing at him, but overall, I was seething at work today. I was ready for
just to jump in. I was going to touch on that in itself. All of that is crazy, and I think the one thing that stuck out for me, I remember listening to TalkSport at the time of his appointment, and the owner Dale Vince, he was not happy. The owner of Forest Green. And he came on TalkSport and he was very gentlemanly with it. I'll give him that. But the way he spoke, he was just so underneath his breath. You could tell he was absolutely seething that they'd gone behind his back. Rightly so, as you say. But that was the first thing that I thought of was Forest Green now. And I was thinking they'll obviously be, laughing their socks off. But what they stopped in signing him was what was blossoming at Forest Green under Rob Edwards and, the promotion. You think, how do you know he wouldn't go on and, do something similar or get them in the right vein to be there doing the same this season? And, for him to lose the manager like that for 10 games, they just lost him for a little short stint until they get bored. And I think, that's a football club's future plans all taken away from them just so you can have a bit of fun for 10 games and then get bored and then look for another plaything. Yeah. It doesn't sit right at all. It doesn't work. It's not. I don't like it.
And not only that, is the fact that they went to Forest Green. They went to Rob Edwards instead of Forest Green, meaning that when he did quit, that means that Forest Green don't get any compensation. They don't get anything for it, just for a little stay in Herefordshire, or where is it, Buckinghamshire? I don't even know where Watford is right now.
No.
Just
not good.
Overall, I mean, I don't. It's nothing against the fans. It's nothing against the thing on the pitch. It's nothing against the staff, other than the board and the owner and the chairman. Absolute disgrace.
Yeah, shame on them.
Absolutely. There's something happened in the game, by the way, because
I think there's I think we have an update. There's a penalty. Obviously, the people listening to this will have known the outcome of this by now. I think there's a penalty for Germany here, so it gets from bad to worse for Sir Gareth.
For a certain someone we're going to speak about in a few minutes, I think. We should carry on now. Now, Cal introduced me to the Watford one. And now we're going to go on to the next 7, which is we talked about it last week. We talked about it briefly. That this all stemmed from a question that I brought to Cal. That has he ever properly been involved or around sort of the lead up to a game and then like go into a fixture, whether it be non-league or league, and be around all the experiences. And We just conceded. And it sort of spared this little thought in his head that, and this sort of segment that we've sort of, it's stemmed and it's grown and it's blossomed into this wonderful piece. And Carl, I think I'll bring you to the floor now. You went to a game this weekend, didn't you?
Yes, so I was at Cantilever Park in Warrington, watching Warrington Town versus FC United of Manchester. As Dom said, in the last pod we discussed a question that he'd asked me about, do you think you've missed out on the real fan experience? And, there were parts of me that think maybe I did. Parts of me, listen, going the games that I've been to at Anfield and been lucky enough to see with my dad, priceless memories, and even watching them at home with my dad, the exact same. But I think that, that on the day, making the day of it, I think that's what I'd missed out on a little bit. So, yeah, went to Cantilever Park, watched Warrington versus FC United. And just to report back, really, I had a great day. It was brilliant. Got up nice and early, met my friend, went and, got some food and then a couple of beers and then got down to the ground. And, as soon as I got there, I'd seen it before, but I'd never been inside. And, it was brilliant. Had a great day. And yeah, look, the result didn't go our way. We was beaten 1-0 by FC United, but the chances that we had, this will move us on to something that I'd like to mention that we mentioned at the top of the show. But the biggest thing for me on the day was talking to the social media officer at FC United behind the goal. And, he received a bit of stick on the day, but maybe a bit from me as well. But no, he was telling me how the goalkeeper that they had on the day, Will Stanway, had come from Chester. He'd just signed on loan. It was his first game for the club. And he was brilliant. He was really, really good. He made, I think it was about 4 top saves that should have been a goal. So, Warrington were really unlucky to not get anything out of the game. But all in all, had a great day. Had some nice food and a few pints there as well. And yeah, just a really welcoming atmosphere. And it's definitely something that I think I said to you that I'll be hooked on this afterwards, and you agreed, and I can confirm I am. I've been looking at tickets for Bamber Bridge tomorrow night away.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I'm not sure just now. Yeah, I'm not too sure.
That's my neck of the woods. You should come
down.
Yeah,
it's not too far at all, to be fair. So I don't know. We'll see how we go. I'll update you the next pod. But what I wanted to say, if anyone had clocked on from the name, when I mentioned
say the name again.
When I mentioned Will Stanway, who is the goalkeeper for FC United on the day, making his debut, I managed to get that's how I lie. My friend Dan Chilton managed to get a brilliant video from behind the goal. You've seen it, haven't you? It's on our Twitter now. Of the save. It's from a free kick. And the free kick looks like it's going bottom corner, takes a deflection off a defender, skews up in the air. And this reaction save is something else. It's doing the rounds now on Twitter from our Twitter feed, to the point where he managed to get in touch and say thanks a lot for showing the video. It's a good video and all this. So we thanked Will, put the video up. He was made up with it. It's got a few, I think FC United retweeted it. Yeah. And then just when we thought it had peaked, a certain Lioness Euros winning player, Georgia Stanway, who is related to Will, managed to retweet it and say something, some save. And I remember when you sent it to me, I was like, oh my God.
I was like, the kindling is struck and the fire is going. I was yeah.
And yeah, so wow. Didn't expect that for a minute. So, I think what that did is, it really put the cherry on top of a really, really enjoyable day. And can't wait to go back. I've been looking at the fixtures now, working out feasibly what away games we can go to, because I didn't realize how, I know it's north and south, but Jesus Christ,
it's not north, is it, though?
Absolute trek.
I think Gloucester is in the north, apparently.
Yeah, Matlock, I think, was the furthest I'd seen so far. When I was looking down. Yeah, it was. I think it was an hour 53 or something. You think, wow.
And then you've got like Gateshead, and is that they in the league? Yeah, that's even further away. I think that's about 3 hours away, isn't it? From especially where Warrington is.
I think the lucky thing is that there's quite a few that are, able to get to places like Bamber Bridge and, some around the Greater Manchester area. So there'll be a few that I can get to away games, but obviously all the home games that I'm able to go to. I'd love to go now. So yeah, gonna get into it. Hooked. Absolutely loving it. So yeah, made up. I'm glad. Glad I actually went and did it. I think that was the main thing. Is been talking about it for a while, and yeah, good to finally be there.
Well, I think that's sort of like, I think that's the same sort of vibe that we've had on this podcast. Like, it's just like, you've always thought about doing it, but like, just get it done, just do it. Like I always say, people who say, "Oh, I've seen your videos and I want to do it." I was like, just do it then. It's free. It's just as long as you don't mind people watching you, and they can say whatever they want behind the backs, but
yeah, I think that's it. That's the refreshing thing about it is wanting to do it, and then, like you say, as soon as you do it, you think, "Wow, why have I not done this before?" And we've had so much fun doing it so far. Obviously, this is a big one for us today, isn't it? Because this is end of pre-season. Now we're into the real thing, we're on Spotify, which is when I saw the first little prototype this morning up on Spotify, I thought, "Wow, that looks brilliant."
To pull the curtain back a little bit, that was about 20 minutes before the pod. And I was like, I've got it. I've finally done it, because it's taken me about a week to figure out how to do it. Oh my God. I felt like such a boomer in that whole situation. I just didn't realize what to do. And I was like, oh, this is such a new field for me. And I'm usually okay with technology, but Jesus, like, it's a complete new one. But I'm glad you had a good time at Warrington. I knew you would. I think, you sort of understand the. Did you get any use to any chance, or is it?
To be honest, I think that was probably the only thing that was lacking on the day was a bit of singing and shouting. The FC United fans were in full voice, very loud, with a lot of chants. A lot of them a bit more repetitive than others, let's say.
Usually because there's not that many people, so they're always
exactly.
Yeah,
but yeah, I think that was probably the only thing that was lacking. But hey, we can make a few of them, don't we? We'll sort that out.
Yeah, exactly. No, yeah. So is this going to be like a segment that we're going to come back to? I think in future, whenever you go to the next game, because obviously, did you mention the actual scoreline or?
Yeah, it was 1-0 to FC United. It was a loss. It was a tricky loss because we had loads of chances. But yeah, I think it'll be one of them that I can just briefly mention here and there. But obviously, if there's been a massive game, or if we make the playoffs, or things like that, if things go well, or if things, on the other hand, I've seen a couple of whispers this week. I don't know if it's a curse for me turning up, but apparently Mark Beasley, the manager, might be on thin ice. So,
oh really?
We'll see. Yeah. So if something happens along them lines, I'll be sure to mention it. But
I didn't even realize that they would be under that sort of stress in that sort of league, that they could even afford to pay. I suppose the conversation won't be great. Are you ready? Are you ready for it? I feel like I always say this one because I always have to preface this one, don't I?
I am ready.
Have you got your player? And also, wait, are we saying the winner of last week's before or after
it? Well, we can give him an announcement after if you want. Yeah.
Yep. Do it after. But you'll see. Okay. 3. Here we go.
Random Footballer of the Week.
Ian Gazoo.
Pascal Chimbonda.
Random Footballer of the Week.
Can I say something quick? I always write down 2 or 3, and then I'll randomly select one of the 3, and then obviously maybe use one for the next week.
Okay.
It was one of 2. I've got a little Google.
What did you say?
It was. I said Ian Dazoo. I think he was the captain at Wigan when they, they were flying in 2006.
Yeah. I know. Yeah.
And I had Ian Dazoo. I can see it here now. Ian Dazoo and Pascal Chimbonda.
Right.
No, that's what I mean. So when you said it, I was like, Jesus Christ! Can you imagine? Imagine what pressure you'd have been under.
I've got one name here, and that was it. I'd be like,
oh, that's the beauty of going first, I suppose. But
like, Cal, can we just redo that one, please?
Yeah.
After quickly thinking of another, to be fair, my always thought is like classic Fulham. I don't know why.
Yeah, there's something about them, isn't there?
Classic Fulham, classic Pompey, classic Rovers. I don't know why.
Yeah,
but obviously we've got Cal's pick, which is again.
Aryan Dezou.
Dezou versus Pascal Chimbonda. Now, last week we had Amir Zaki versus what was mine again?
Thomas Radzinski.
Thomas Radzinski.
I don't think you had much hopes of him winning if you can't remember his name.
Yeah, so we had Thomas Radzinski versus Amir Zaki. And do we know the poll for it?
I don't think. Do we have the exact figures? All that I know is that my man won. That's what I know.
Amir Zaki did win, but I will get it 1 second.
Just to finalize.
Just to finalize the results. It was 80% Amir Zaki.
No.
Thomas Radzinski, and he only played about 5 games as well. Amir Zaki.
Yeah. Hey, he had some season at Wigan. Honestly, he was absolutely brilliant. He was unplayable. I remember he got a. I think the reason I picked him was for his overhead kick against Liverpool at Anfield.
Yeah, I also remember that little header he had against City where he missed from a yard.
Yeah, I think he did go to absolute pieces at one point, but he started really well. I think what I will say, Dom, looking forward into next week is I think you might have me this week.
Pascal Chimbonda.
He's a classic.
It depends which one. Which one do you want? Like, because obviously Dezou, he has Wigan or Portsmouth, but you know with Pascal you could have the Tottenham one, you could have the Wigan one, you could have the Rovers one, you could have the Sunderland one. I think the Wigan one is probably the best, isn't it?
Yeah, and I think you could pick any of them that you want, and then if you ask yourself the question, was he wearing gloves? And the answer is yeah. He would wear gloves in the middle of summer.
Oh, absolutely. Pascal Chimbonda. I used to always say he used to run on custard. That was the way he ran. But Pascal Chimbonda was on the bench in the 2006 World Cup final.
Wow.
So,
wow, what a fact that is. I did not know that.
Yeah, him and Gail Give both at Rovers at one point.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, so that's that. Gal, do you want to set us off on the next one, on the tone of the next one?
Yes, we are on to our next segment, which is a lovely new segment, a bit on the positive side of things. This is our Nonsense Hall of Fame.
Should we mention the last week's winner?
Yes, I think we should mention them ones first this time, I think.
This had more votes than the last one, and we said who is our first inductee for the Nonsense Hall of Fame? And it was between Harry Maguire, who was just let a penalty go for England, and Hugh Edwards.
Oh gosh, yeah. And I think the best thing about this was thinking who'd win in a fight in a pub, but it was also we saw the nice side of how their week had gone and how Harry Maguire's life's gone so far. So yeah, do you have an official announcement on the winner?
I do, and it was close, 56 to 44%. Harry Maguire. He will get an honours on that Wikipedia page at one point, I'm sure. Well done, Harry Maguire. I'll put an applause soundbite there. Well done, mate. You have won. You have won something this year. It's rare for you. I will say you've not had a great couple of years, but well done, you. Now, Cal, have you got a choice for Hall of Fame?
I have. I've got one. I've gone for this week. To be fair, it was a tough one. I had a couple in mind. And then Germany have just scored an absolute screamer. But I had a couple in mind this week. And I decided today on my overall choice. And my overall choice, previously mentioned on tonight's pod, is Dale Vince, owner of Forest Green. Simply because of what's happened today, what we've already spoke about on the show. And, I just think from how he handled the news of Rob Edwards leaving, I'd absolutely love to be a fly on the wall at his house tonight. I think there'll be some champagne popping. I think there'll, be a few laughs going on and might be a bit of karaoke and all of that. So, fair play to Dale Vince. I think he's got the good end of all this. He might not get some compensation, but he'll get a bloody good laugh. So, Dale Vince is my inductee for the Hall of Fame this week. Dom, over to you.
Right, so my pick for Hall of Fame is Mark Lawrenson. If anybody is under a rock, then you won't know what's going on with him. Well, in terms of English football, he has currently been let go by the BBC because he claimed he is 65 and white. Now, I claim that he's probably, mind-numbingly boring. Bit of a dinosaur. He's not got the tactical nuance and tactical awareness of the pundits today, and it's just an easy fallback, isn't it, for these sort of people on TV right now? I'm sure at one point it'll be on Talk Sports. So, in fact, I'll put a 10 on it for him to be in Talk Sport in the next 2 weeks. To be honest with you, it seems a sort of fit for him. So that is quickly my sort. It's the sort of person that should be in Nonsense Hall of Fame. That is my nominee. So what we'll do, guys, is we'll put it on a poll like the Random Football of the Week as well. Mark Lawrenson versus
Dale Vince.
This is a different vibe.
It's not quite the heavyweight fight that the last one was.
No.
It's still an interesting one. I'm not sure. They've both, one of them's laughing their face off right now, and the other one's absolutely furious. So
one's crying into a whiskey.
Yeah, that's it. So, yeah, it's a good one. I'm happy with it.
Yeah, absolutely. So, I think the next thing we need to talk about now is the segment which I'm trying to bleed out of the podcast, and
it's not
one
going away.
which I think has a sell by date, and the gammon is rotting right now, to be honest with you. It is. Do I do the jingle again? Is that I forgot what the jingle was? Gammon thoughts.
Something
gammon
like that.
Thoughts. It's not quite Brexit. But if you hear it in the crowd, then you want to exit. It's Gammon Thoughts.
Sounds sweeter every time.
I remember it. Sweet like that pineapple next to the gammon. Now, it's not sweet, is it? It's sour.
Yeah. But you have one this week, don't you? You have one to start.
I do have one to start. And I've not spoke to you about it. The Gammon Thought is from me. Me, just me, as in me. Right, so when I did the video that I did on my channel last, which Don Meadowcroft, go subscribe if you want to on YouTube, then I mentioned the fact that we went with Roberto De Zerbi. Beforehand, with the with Liam, my friend of the pod, and personally, he was glad to nicely to be on the video with me. I was like, "How do you pronounce his name? Is it De Zerbi? That in itself is a Gammon Thought. But not only that, I then spelt his name wrong on the title for the first day. I spelt it DE space ZEBRI. So then I had to change that, and then I just decided. I did private the video for a little bit, thinking, Jesus, I need to change that 2 days later. So I was like, okay. But no, I just decided to keep it on there. So if anybody ever checks that YouTube video, it's Roberto De Zebri. I just thought, fuck it. Nobody in English is going to find that. They're just going to see it and be fine with it. But it was Liam that went, mate, you've spelt it wrong. And I was like, no, I've not. It's just one of these people that, nobody will see that. Turns out it was doing horrendous before I changed the title, and then now it's doing all right.
Oh, has it picked up since you said?
Yeah. It's on more views than the rest of the last few. And
who'd have thought?
I was like, wow, you've got a point there, mate. And that is my sort of Gammon Thought. I just thought, no, they'll be fine with it. Yeah, just stick with it. I'm such a gammon, honestly. Such a Brexit-esque, it's De Zebri. Roberto De Zebri.
Do we know the official? What is the proper spelling of his name? I'm going gammon myself here.
It's Roberto, and then D-E, and then Zerbi.
Zerbi.
He said it to me. That's the thing. He said it to me before. He was like, De Zerbi. I was like, okay, De Zerbi. Right. Okay. It's like the Tuchel one. If for some reason on my video, I kept going Tuchel. I was like, where's this
Yeah,
come
I've seen
from?
a
I've
couple.
never said this
I
before.
think Jamie Carragher calls him Tuchel.
Tommy
There's all
Tuchel.
sorts for it, yeah. So
Right.
I don't know. I think I'll give it you as a gammon thought. But hey, listen, he's brand new, isn't he? But
I think my
I
gammon
think
thought was just fuck it, let's just keep it on
it
instead of changing.
well, it keeps us on course really, because as we talk about gammon thoughts, we have a gammon overlord has risen on his TalkSport platform, talking about the same fella. And I remember you brought this up to me in the pre-pod meeting, and I really like this one. This is Liverpool great. Graham Souness has come forward to talk about the new Brighton manager. And Dom, you've got some of his quotes, and I think you've managed to riddle out a little bit of what he said and what's wrong with it.
Yeah, so he said that I'll say the sort of facts, and then you can sort of name it. But he's not just a Liverpool great; he's a Rovers great as well. He won the Carling Cup final with us. Oh my God, we've just gone 2-2.
Yeah, and it's a great goal from Mason Mount. And I think we can announce that football will definitely be coming home.
Yeah,
So,
ignore the fact that we
winter,
talked about Souness not Souness, Southgate in the first bit. We are gammons. Put us as gammons. Yeah, Souness won the Women's Cup with us, and that's the last proper title that we had in 2001. So, but
Liverpool
that
legend,
was his last proper managerial role after Newcastle, and he flopped there. So he has mentioned the fact that De Zerbi doesn't know the league, and he is Italian, and you need an English manager. Now, Cal, when was the last time an English manager won the Premier League? Do you know?
Nope. Zilch.
It wasn't.
Zero.
They've never won. So Hal Wilkinson won it in 1991, which is great with Leeds. When was the last time Leeds won it? 1991? No, 1990. Like, it's just like 20 years ago. 4 Italian managers have won it. He also said that he's been at 7 clubs in 9 seasons. Carl, do you want to clarify on it a little bit?
Yeah. Well, I think what we were talking about before, that every club that he's actually been at, he seems to do really well. And he's plucked away by a better team. So he comes to this point in his career where I think the best bit of this story is that's been his career has progressed, got to the top level. He's over managing in Russia in his last job. I think did he win the cup over there?
So and then he was at Benevento, but they got relegated. But he was already in a position where they were relegated. Got promoted with them to Serie A again, and he was praised for his tactical. Attackive high press attackive play. He went to Sassuolo, obviously with Pedro Biang and Locatelli in centre mid. They're sort of this comparable to Brighton right now, which might be a reason why Brighton got him. Then he went to Shakhtar, which is another step up. Also, by the way, with Sassuolo, they just got out of European places by goal difference from Roma with a shoestring budget. So we'll just go a little bit deeper. Shakhtar, before he had to leave because there might be a war going on. They were top of the league in the Ukrainian first division, and they also won the Super Cup in the summer. So there's been progression there in the last few seasons. And like you say, he's been progressing every time he's been there, and all it took me to find all that out was 10 minutes, 5 minutes, 2 minutes on Wikipedia.
That's it. I think that's the trouble sometimes. I think lazy journalism's out there for all to see, isn't it? And
yeah,
listen, it's one of those things. I think the jury's still out. He's obviously not played a game over here yet. He's not managed the game for Brighton yet. But yeah, you can't really judge him either way at this point, can you? I don't think you can do that of any manager coming into the league. You've seen too many managers come in that you think are not going to do so great and end up surprising people. And the polar opposite, all the managers with the absolute pedigree that it doesn't quite work out for them. So no, I don't really, it definitely is a gammon thought. I think it goes right in the bank, doesn't it?
It's a gammon thought because he just said it because he's heard of his name, thought he's Italian, just not really thought about anything else other than he's not English. And by the way, he's not English himself. I don't understand this sort of.
Yeah, I don't know. I think
Weird
it's
thought.
like you say. I think to be fair, he probably didn't have a clue who he was, and he's like, "Oh,
Yeah.
has he? They've not signed him, have they? I'm not going to talk about him, have I?"
Because to be honest,
That's where
like
they
not
are.
many people have heard of him before.
No,
Like,
no.
we knew that Sassuolo did well in the Serie A. Maybe people knew that, but we didn't know who the manager was, and we didn't know who to Shakhtar. Just like I say, it takes 10 minutes worth of research to figure out who this guy is, and this sort of praise. He's getting praised all over the place, and that's all you need to know, essentially, isn't it?
Yeah, that's it. And best wishes to him as well.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and Brighton's a team that I always praise, and I always praise their sort of recruitment policies. And I know Dan Ashworth went to Newcastle, and that's the whole sort of different topic. And yeah, this sort of screams Brighton, doesn't it? This sort of unknown manager that's bound to do well with them, like Graham Potter.
Yeah. And well, to finish on that one, fair play to Graham Souness for getting in the Gammon Thoughts cha-ching. But we have a new little segment all ready for our, granddaddy special, our first pod of the season. So we are going to introduce a quiz. So I think the protocol for this was to not be too tricky, but be a little bit tricky, be a bit harsh to each other. And so the way it's going to go is, I'm going to ask a question for Dom. You're going to answer it. I'm going to tell him the answer. Vice versa to me. We've got 3 questions each.
Yep.
We're going to do it in a football point scoring system. If we both get the same amount of questions right at the end, it's a point each. If one of us wins, 3 points. And we're going to keep it going throughout the series. We'll probably have a little checker at the bottom for when we get to this segment in the pod. And for those on YouTube, they can have a look how we're getting on over the season. So without any further ado, Dom, are you ready?
Yeah, you want to start with the question first?
Yeah, go on. I'll ask you the first one.
Yeah, go on.
You ready?
Yeah, I'm okay.
Cue the...
Dun, 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 dun. That's Mastermind.
Yeah, we'll find one.
We'll find something. I'm sure I'll forget about it. Go on.
Dom. Which player has scored the most left-footed Premier League goals?
Okay. Is there an option? Oh, is there not an option?
No, mate. I'm going tricky here.
Left-footed goals. So it's got to be someone that's high up there. Oh God. Left-footed goals. It can't be anyone that's left-footed because I don't think anyone's. Oh Christ. Is this the easy one?
No.
Oh, okay, thank God. Because we did say that we were doing
Yeah.
yeah.
No.
Okay, so most left-foot goals. Harry Kane.
Incorrect. It is Robbie Fowler.
I want to know.
Is
that? Go on.
Yeah, he's got 105 goals with his left foot. He also managed 30 with his right foot and 28 with his head.
Oh, okay.
So Robbie Fowler.
I think what it was, I seen a stat about Harry Kane, and I was like, oh, maybe he's got it from there. It was either going to be him or Thierry Henry, to be honest. So yeah, that was the guess I've got.
Well,
so it's now I haven't got one.
Yeah.
Now, we haven't mentioned Watford.
Oh no.
Right. So since 2012. No, since 2014, there has been 13 managers.
Yeah.
And because you did a hard one for me just then, I'm going to say name 8.
8? Since when?
2014.
I'm going to try and get the ones from early doors out the way.
No,
that
wait.
might not be.
This doesn't include Rob Edwards or Bilic.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
I'm all right with that. Rob Edwards, that's a bit sly. he was in there this season. Right, okay. I want to get some little wild cards that I think I'm not sure if they were even earlier than this. So, number 1, Sean Dyche.
No, that was before.
Brendan Rodgers.
That was before. That was even before. 2009.
Okay, they're out the way. I'm going to go Cisco.
Yep. What's 1?
Claudio Ranieri.
2.
It's hard to remember some of the names. Oh my God, I've gone.
Should I give you
Claudio Ranieri?
You just said his name.
No, I thought I said Cisco.
Yeah, you said Cisco and Ranieri.
Um,
In fact, I'll say not 8. 8's too high, isn't it?
yeah, 5 surely, something like that.
Yeah,
Can't be here
I'll
all
give you.
night.
I'll give you 5. Fuck it. Yeah, go on.
5. Oh my god,
5.
Watford managers. Was the one who was at Leicester for a bit, not Ranieri.
We're winning
Jesus
the game,
Christ.
by the way.
Yeah, I know. Just got a penalty.
You're not
Didn't
bloody
we?
win. This
Um,
the last World Cup we're in. We just yeah.
God, this is tough. Did Marco Silva go to Watford?
Yeah, there we go. So it's 3. I'll give you another minute.
Oh my god, I need 2. Oh, Watford managers. Roy Hodgson.
Yep.
Oh my god. Come
We've
on.
got 30 seconds now.
Don't do this. This is well tough. Your mind goes blank, doesn't it?
It does, yeah.
Um,
You got 15 seconds.
Nigel Pearson.
Yes, well done.
Come on.
Right. Could you got any more?
No, mate. I was
Okay.
scraping the barrel.
Right,
There. Your
that's
mind
fine.
goes.
So-
I bet if you name them all now, I better be like, oh yeah, remember that.
I don't think. Well, one was manager twice.
Was
so-
that not Cisco or was that the?
No,
What's
we'll
the
go-
name? Spanish
go-
name.
We'll go from. Should we go from recent to backwards?
It's
or-
Quique Sanchez Flores, isn't it?
Yeah. So from 2014, we've got Giuseppe Sanino, Oscar Garcia, Billy McKinley, Slavisa Jokanovic,
yeah.
Quique Sanchez Flores twice,
Yeah.
Walter Mazzari,
Yeah. Walter Mazzari.
Javi Garcia. Hayden Mullins was caretaker twice.
Oh, could you have had him? Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
Vladimir Ilic, Pearson, obviously Silva. Then Muniz, which is Cisco. Ranieri and Hodgson. Well done.
Brilliant. Right, I'm happy with that. 1-0 then. 1-0 going into round 2.
And I was a bit lenient.
I'm going to confirm this is your easy one. So no pressure at all.
Okay, well, that's fine.
2 Premier League teams have been relegated from the league in the same season that they've won a domestic trophy, and I need both.
Birmingham
Yeah.
and from the Premier League.
Yeah.
Was it Borough? From the Premier League.
So they was in the Premier League. They were relegated the same season they won a domestic trophy. Birmingham's won. I need one more. Oh no.
Is it recent? Wigan.
Yes, there we go. I'll give you that. I thought you were going to say Borough then. I was like,
No.
Final answer.
What happened? I think Borough got to the final in around 97. I think did they get relegated that season? You know the one where the Chelsea scored in the first minute, but I think Chelsea won that game.
Yeah, no, they're the 2 that did it. Wigan
Right,
did it
that's fine.
2013.
And I said the harder one first, didn't I? Think.
Yeah.
I forgot about that Wigan.
So it's
Right.
now 1-1.
So I'll give you the easy one now.
Oh God, okay. Oh God, it's 3-3 and it's an absolute clanger from Nick Pope.
Yeah, he's Nick Pope.
Yeah,
That's fine. So I forgot we're on a pod then. Name. Do I make it easier or slightly harder? The 1920 season.
I thought you meant the year 1920.
No,
then.
no,
I was like,
no.
what? Yeah, 1920 season. Yeah.
Name the 3 relegated sides.
Oh my God.
Do
Was
you remember the season?
Norwich? Yeah, we won the league. So I hope I've get these right. Was Norwich there?
Yep.
Norwich were there. 1920. Was that the year Sheffield United did well, or did they go down? Sheffield United?
No. You got one. Like that's it for guesses now. Like you can't get any more wrong.
Oh, what?
Well, you can't just keep guessing. Tottenham.
Charlton. What?
Charlton.
That year we played.
So yes, it was the season where Sheffield United did well.
Yeah. I'm going to take a punt. I might kill myself here. Fulham.
No.
There we go.
Well, you know that Norwich and Fulham did that thing for a few seasons.
I know, but I wasn't sure if they had one together.
It was Bournemouth and Watford.
Oh, Christ.
That was the.
Oh, my God.
I did say 2 of the 3 sides, but you got 2 wrong. So, last question for me. It's 1-1. Tight.
1-1. On to the last bit.
Okay.
Right. The worst ever Premier League season goes to Derby County, ending it with 11 points.
Yes.
And because this is a hard one, I need both. I need their top league scorer that season, and I need how many goals he scored in the league.
Oh, okay. Fucking, you need both.
You're allowed a free guess on each that's wrong.
Top scorer was Kenny. Was he called Kenny?
Kenny.
The Scottish guy. Kenny. What's it called? There's the one. You know the one I mean.
You're knocking on the door. I can't. It's too tight.
Kenny. Kenny Davis. Kenny. Is that right? Kenny.
No, and I feel awful giving it you as a guess. So I'm going to let you have. Oh, you can have one more guess on the name. Kenny is his first name.
Kenny. Right. So I've got a guess for the amount of goals he scored.
Yeah, you've got another guess for his name, for his last name, before you can put your proper one in. I'm being so nice here. And then you've got 2 guesses on his goal tally. 2 more guesses on his name and 2 on his goal tally.
Because I know the only game that they won was against Newcastle and they won 1-0.
Yeah.
Why do I remember that? I don't remember his name. I remember there was players like Peacock and I thought it was Kenny Davis. Davis was the manager, wasn't it? That was the issue.
No, it was Paul Jewell, wasn't it? And then I think did Billy Davis go in later on?
No, Billy Davis started the season, and then Paul Jewell came in. Yeah.
Right, I'm giving you a minute from now.
Right, so he scored 3.
Incorrect.
It can't be more than that. Scored 2.
Oh, it's 4.
4. Go on, what?
It was Kenny Miller with 4.
Kenny Miller!
Oh, I hated that one. I felt horrible with that one. That one was
I wouldn't have got
close.
that. That's so frustrating because I knew
that was.
Yeah.
You know what? Good effort with that one. That was a valiant effort.
I'll even mention some of the players. Like you could say the one that went
Giles Barnes, man.
Giles Barnes. Robbie Savage was in that team as well.
Yeah.
Christ.
Oh God.
You're not going to get this one, to be honest.
Is this to win it? Is this to potentially win it?
Yeah. Name 2 of the 3 teams that got relegated from the 92-93 season.
How many guesses have I got here?
You've got 1 wrong guess.
1 wrong guess. You had 2 choices. Yeah. Oldham.
No.
No, I should get 1 guess for each position.
What?
Because I was well nice to you then with Kenny. I should have said, no, it's not Kenny Davis. It's over. Ipswich.
No.
1 more guess, and then I'll
yeah. I'll give you 1 more guess. In fact, I'll give you another guess after this.
I'm just trying to think. 'Cause there's a few teams that.
So you've got 1 more wrong guess.
Yeah, and then I've got to get. And then
you've got to get. You just Hail Mary
it. Oh my word, that's a tough one. And I've said Oldham and.
To be honest with you, I would have said Oldham as well. But
yeah,
I think Oldham survived.
Did they stick around for a bit? Yeah.
Them and Swindon survived a season, or they may have just gone up and down again.
Right, this is tough, really tough. First Premier League season. I'm just trying to think of teams more than anything. Teams that weren't.
I'll give you a minute and 30. So I'll give some stats. United won it. Arsenal won the Cup Winners' Cup. Aston Villa, Norwich came second and third. Blackburn came fourth.
When?
Teddy,
Oh,
Teddy,
God.
you got a minute and 10 seconds left. Teddy Sheringham scored 22 goals that season. Top goal scorer for Tottenham, I believe, or is it Sheffield? No, it was. No,
Were Oxford ever there?
No, that's wrong. You got a Hail Mary. Oxford have never been in the top division.
In
the Premier League, anyway.
Oh my life, this is horrible.
In fact, Oldham were in that division, and they were in part of the highest scoring game, 5-3. The longest winning run was Manchester United and Sheffield Wednesday with 7 games.
Luton Town.
No, you're wrong.
No.
Right, okay.
Right.
It was Palace, Borough, and Forest.
Oh my God, there's some great teams. I'd have never gone for that.
No, is that a draw? Is that a draw?
It is. It's a 1-1 draw on the opening day. I'll take it.
I think it was a case. I think I could have got that Kenny Miller one.
Yeah,
I think it was nearly there, but I think we've shown our lack of or hard questions. I think we had hard questions.
Yeah,
I like that though. I like it though. I like the sort of vibe that we're getting off that. There's a sort of chance.
Yeah, and that's it. And there's an easy one in there because I think the biggest thing is the jeopardy of if you get your easy one wrong, you're having a nightmare. So
fucking nearly got it wrong as well.
It's it's fun, and we can get potential new guests involved, and things like that. So I'm looking forward to carrying that one on.
Yeah, exactly. And
all square on the opening day.
Exactly, and I think that should be the end of the podcast, to be honest with you. I think that rounds it off nicely. So, guys, if you have enjoyed this podcast, please let us know in the comments below. I don't think we had any last time, but it's absolutely fine. If anything, it makes us try harder to do the segments, which makes it an easier podcast for us, to be honest with you, as well. But any comments would be appreciated below. If we haven't already said it, please subscribe to the Cal and Dom Talk Nonsense podcast as well as on Spotify. We should be on there now as well. Please go and follow us on there. Please go and listen. Any sort of likes, any sort of subscriptions and comments below would be appreciated. Also, go and subscribe to my personal Dom Meadowcroft YouTube account. This will be on there as well. Cal, is there anything to plug or anything to say? Final words?
Pretty much echoing that, mate. Just if you can. If you like it, if you got this far, then, give us a comment. It helps us massively. Any comments add to the show. The next show coming up all get shaped around these comments and ideas that come from you guys as well as us. So, yeah, pretty much. If you're on board, if you see anything from us on Twitter, don't be afraid to say hello and give us a little comment what you're enjoying, what you want to have a little say about. So we're always here listening for comments. So, yeah, we can't wait to hear from you.
Absolutely. And any comment will be mentioned in the podcast, like we say. We do have guests lined up, but we want to make it about us two right now because we are selfish fucks and we like the sound of our own voice.
Okie doke.
Okie dokie. Thanks for listening, guys. I hope you've had a good listen, and we'll catch you guys soon next week, next Thursday. Peace out, guys. See you later.